All right, you meet me here at the perimeter fence preliminary electrifier setup situation. So on our farm, we have at the front section here, we've got about 12 acres of pasture. This is what I consider the front of our farm. We have a page wire fence, goes all the perimeter of it. Because of the odd shape of it, it's actually almost exactly a mile long, the fence. And I opted to go with page wire because I like a physical barrier. I like to overbuild everything, and good fences make good neighbors. So I put the page wire up, and then I've put 2 electric lines. You see that one of my Energizer is preliminarily fastened to. So we've got a line on the top, and we've got a line on the bottom, 6 inches from the ground or so, depending on the terrain. So that will prevent hopefully anything from trying to nose its way in or trying to dig under. I find typically coyotes will try to dig under, but they can do anything they want to. I also have, you can probably see, a wire on the inside. I don't know if I would have done that if I wasn't incentivized to, but I was, so I did. And it's there, and maybe I'll use it as a jumper or something. So anyways, you can see on the charger, we've got, every time it's pulsing, we've got 2 red lines and a yellow line. So there's a good amount of vegetation on it right now on the bottom wire, and that's going to suck away some of our joules in the charger. But there's also a break in the line, I'm going to say about halfway around. So we got to go fix that because it's laying on the ground, grounding out. So we're going to unplug the charger here, head over there, fix that, and then we'll see if we're getting a little bit of a better spark in it. You want this to be, it's red, yellow, green at the top. You want to be seeing that getting into at least 1 line of green. It's not going to be perfect because of all the vegetation that's along the bottom row, and I don't use this all year long, depending on where the animals are and what other electric fence I have to protect them. So anyways, let's get some tools together. We'll go fix this, we'll unplug it, and we'll see how it does. All the lambs are looking at me on my way back to the house. Hello, lambs. Meh. They're not sure what to make of all this action. Typically, they aren't this close to the house. All right, so I came and found this end, which somehow had gotten cut off and was just grounded out on the ground. So then over there, about 45 feet. No, that's not 45 feet. Come on, Ben, get your eyes checked. That's probably 25 feet. Here's the other side. I looped it up on the fence here. So somehow, I imagine I hit it with the cutter. Somehow 25 feet of wire is missing. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna tie some loops and reattach it. So, going to need a couple things. We're going to need these, and we're going to need this. We will need both of these things this evening. So maybe I just have to be more careful when I'm coming through with the bush hog next time. Right now, all I have is a bush hog, so a bush hog is what we use. So I'm just gonna make a nice clean loop there. Now I know some electric fence purists are gonna tell me that I am totally half-assing this and I should put a better, more firm connection where you coil the 2 wires together. But, well, this is close enough for the girls I date. If I notice that, if I do notice a breakdown in my spark, I have been known to come back and take an additional wire. There's my connection there. Take an additional wire, run it along both. But aluminum, I find, with steel that might be more necessary, galvanized, but with aluminum wire I find it so conductive, it does all the work for me. Anyways, let's roll this out and we'll go connect it to the other side. This is my last roll of aluminum wire on the property. Yikes, we're gonna have to spend money. Imagine. Okay, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen, but you know. One thing that I find I do have to be a little more careful about with aluminum wire versus steel is making sure it unrolls properly as opposed to not spinning sideways so that the wire would get torqued in a circle. Oh, you know what? I might have made a boo-boo. Anyway, being that when you put it under tension, I find the aluminum will fatigue like that. That was just bent a couple times and it fatigued right off. So it's a downside of aluminum, but I find honestly it's not really that much more expensive if you're buying it by like a decently sized roll. So much easier to work. Conductivity is better. Not saying I won't use steel if that's what I got. You use what you got. So I'm only going to be able to torque this a little bit. I'm yanking on it with my linesman. I'm only going to be able to torque it a little bit because it goes around. There's a 90 degree there, a 90 degree over there. So I go 1, 2, 3. There's a 45. There's 6 90 degree corners in this side of the line. So I'm not going to be able to torque it too far. But you know what? I'm not mad about that. You know what? There we go. So I've got some extra wire here. I'm gonna do the good thing, and I'm going to come back across and just you know, double up on my contact there with between both the wires. Man, feels good. So there we go. Very high tech. Just put a loop both sides, wrap it back across itself. Lots of there'll be lots of conductivity there. So now down those T-posts, I'm missing the orange whatever they're called. T-post iron job something. Pop those back on and then we'll see how the light's looking. So I'll have to come back and put those lock jaws on, but now that wire should be back and good. So let's drive around back to the charger and see what we're looking like. Look at this. Wow. Ugh. I would say if I have one weakness as a person, as a worker, it's that I leave my crap everywhere. Ugh. Right, so there's my tightener. So, I mean, you're not putting, you know, there's no elephants walking along my wire. So I'm only going to do this by hand. Not too worried about making sure that it's, you know, super duper duper tight. But I do want to make sure that I'm not getting any make sure that I'm not getting enough slack that it's going to fall down and end up grounding out on the earth. So we found that wire tightener out here in the field. I would say that's probably my biggest weakness as a person. Not as a person, sorry, I have plenty of those. But as like when it comes to practically doing things, that's probably my biggest weakness. Is I'm always very worried about making sure that I'm doing right now's task as fast, I will say as efficiently. So basically, you know, I've been very good about keeping these ones with me. I've had them for about 20 years, but I have a bad habit of being like, okay, you know, I've got both hands full, I've got something tucked under my arm, I like cut it, and then I need both hands, so I go, and then I just chuck them, right, do what I gotta do, and then job well done, I leave, and then my $50 pliers are sitting on the ground. Somewhere, somewhere in the pig paddocks, which would be like these cedars, and then behind it, there is a mini sledgehammer somewhere. I can't find it. It's either here or it's in our hardwood forest where I was using it to hammer a wedge in when I was cutting trees. And again, something probably happened. I was probably hitting the wedge, hit the wedge, and then something happened and I opted to just let the hammer go, which is good when you're cutting trees. Just dropped it, right? And I'd step back or whatever I did. But you know, then something happened. Maybe the school bus came. Maybe my wife called me and needed help really bad. But somewhere out there, there's an E-swing mini sledge. All right. We're back at base. Hey, look. Hey. Remember how I just mentioned that I like to leave things all over the place? How about a 3/4 inch poly elbow? Although that one looks pretty rough. That one is looking pretty rough, so it might have fallen out of something, but I still don't know why I would just leave it there. Anyway, you know, something we can work on. All right, let's see. Oh, we still only got one yellow bar. Well, I'm not too worried about it because we just brought that wire up off the ground, connected it, and because it was basically like we installed a new wire, so it's really pushing against a lot of vegetation. I'll leave this for a few days and see how it does. If not, we might have to go for another tour and see if we can clear some of that vegetation, or it's possible it's grounding out somewhere that I couldn't tell. Because when I first installed this, it was actually only 2 bars red, so we've gained a little bit. And yeah, I'm not too worried about it. And then if that fails, right now, I'm not sure if it's coming across on the camera, you can see I've got my ground is actually just on the page wire, which, you know, there's, you know, 12 T-posts really close to us, but it's possible that the ground through the T-post isn't good enough. In fact, if it isn't already, over time, the T-post will be inadequate for the ground, but this is basically just a preliminary setup. Wanted to make sure we're going. I do have like 5 kilovolts or so going through these lines, so I'm not crying about it. And if I can't troubleshoot anything else, then we're gonna drive some ground stakes in, and we're gonna see if that can remedy this issue. All right, why don't you come with me? We gotta just do a couple chores. We gotta get some. We're gonna get the eggs from the chickens, and taking the dogs for a walk, and we'll feed the rabbits and see what's going on in there. So come on. Come on, boys. Go on. Go on, get out of here. Yeah, you. Oh, see, I've got the treats now, so you're never going to leave me alone. Little farmer trick here. See that? It's chicken skin. Here, boys. That's skin. Guess you sit. I can show off Rudy. Once upon a time, Rudy was an agility trained dog. You gonna sit pretty? Oh, what a good boy. Easy. And here, no, Ripley. That was just a piece of dirt. Ah! Oh, you cheater. All right, come with me. Wow. So we gotta. It wouldn't be a day on Ben's farm if there wasn't 52 projects all taking place at once. And behold, a collapsing water cube. So if you've ever had an IBC tote and you're not exactly sure what will happen if you were to fill it with water when it's not in the steel cage, ta-da! It kinda collapses on itself, but you know what? It's still in one piece. And if it explodes, then so be it. I just couldn't, I've actually, my rotator cuff is torn and I do not have the strength to get the steel cage up there. And because we're inside here, well, you know what? I might be able to get the tractor forks, but not while the chickens are running around and everything. So I just threw the tank up here, sort of as a proof of concept. Because what we're doing is, for the wintertime this year, I've actually brought the IBC tote inside the building. So typically, you can probably see it out there, the IBC tote is just outside that wall, and then I had the water piped to it, and that felt sticky. I had the water piped to it so that I just drilled a hole and then the water pipe came into the wall. But what I've done here is now I have the IBC tote inside, and then I've just hooked up a spigot and all that. A benefit to having the water inside is now it's going to stay thawed much longer into the wintertime. So we're in a hoop house here, which will gain, I don't really know how to explain it, but the ambient temperature in here is significantly warmer, especially on those like shoulder seasons when it's -1 Celsius, -3 Celsius, you know. It's not really like frozen hard. It will be above freezing in here for much longer. It only starts to sort of equalize with the outside when it's the dead of winter and it's, you know, it's -10 or it's minus something like that. Maybe even it has to be colder than that, and then it starts to get really cold in here. We've also got deep bedding. So in the center here, the bedding's probably 8 inches deep. So you can see I got the sill on the edge of the greenhouse. Not sure if it comes across the camera. It's a 4x4. And in a lot of cases, it's all the way covering the 4x4. And then I built it up in the center. And then also the ground in here is dug out. So it's pretty deep in some spots. And that helps keep it all a little bit of an ambient warmth in here as well. Here, we're going to take this apple core. A little bit of afternoon excitement for the chickens. So we're gonna collect some eggs, and we'll feed the rabbits. Come over here. Hopefully nobody knocks over my tripod. So these probably look like gigantic nest boxes, and it is. I had this wooden crate from a different task. This was actually a brooder for when we had, like, you know, just a couple chickens to brood, you know, 10 or so. That was our little brooder. So we'll go around the other side. Well, first we'll see if there's any in the low nest box. Well, it doesn't look like there's any eggs in there. We are maximum accessibility farm. We have nest boxes at heights for any chicken's ableness. So on this side, anything in here? A couple. I've actually set some aside here because sometimes when I come through, I'll put some eggs aside so that there's not too many in one nest box, because it seems like the chickens all lay in the same two nest boxes every day. So you have like no eggs, actually 15 eggs trying to be under one chicken. And then they start to get broken and all that. So these are some of our original breeders. That's an American chinchilla crossed with like 52 other things. Hi, buddy. Oh, no, not being social today. You're gonna hide with your buddy. So I'm trying something new with this cage. This used to be split into 4 quadrants, but that's actually a male and a female. She's a great female, and they are the bestest of buddies. So I've seen this before. One of my friends has tried it with some success. So I'm actually going to try to make communal cages for multiple rabbits. So maybe 1 buck, a number of females in an adequate space. So not trying to crush them all in together. So there's only 2 rabbits, and this cage is, I'm going to say 2.5 by 8 or something like that. Then I put a whole hay bale in one side, and you can see they're nesting up nicely in it and all that. So this is my experiment with these 2, because if these 2 guys can live happily together, and then I don't have to keep managing like a million individual feeders and waterers, then rabbit starts to make sense. Anyways, I just need to check them. I gave water to a couple of them. Come check out my other rabbits here. So these are a little newer to me. So we've got a female there. We got a monster female here, whom the old owner mentioned that it looks like the killer rabbit from Monty Python. Run away! Run away! Our little male that came with these guys. So that's a Rex there. He has great coloration, and he likes to build little caves in his hay. So those cages are even bigger yet. So whatever 8 divided by 3 is, that's how wide they are. And those were my breeder cages originally for my females. But now I'm probably going to turn that into a communal cage too for those 3. But we'll see. Anyways, it's going to be the evening now, so I should sign off. Say hi to the gang, say goodnight. There's Gus directing traffic. Hello. Gus's favorite spot being underneath them all, pecking their feet. And yeah, I'll catch up with you guys in another video and talk soon. Bye. So, a quick update that I was not planning on filming. So I'm just wandering around here with my phone. I was coming out to put close the chickens in for the evening. And something, I was gonna say incredible, but that might be a little bit of an exaggeration. But look, behold, green. So it looks like our whole wire fixing adventure wasn't a giant waste of time. So yeah, that was an unexpected eventuality coming out after seeing it being yellow for so long, but it must have killed the grass already. Anyway, just wanted to add that as a little update. I wasn't expecting to. And yeah, if you enjoyed our little project here of fixing the wire, thanks for coming along with me. And hope to see you again in another video where we have other exciting project here on RTE Farm. Thanks, and I'll see you in the next one.